Well, yesterday I went to pick up another lot of Graveleys, and in it I got a couple of Model L tractors from the early 50s, and this left-hand brush hog here, which unfortunately is missing the blade off the bottom of it. The clutch on it is actually in pretty good shape, because it was on the tractor when I got it, but it is, you can see the gearbox is stuck. And I think it's the bearing. If there's a bearing, I believe, on the bottom of this gearbox inside, where the shaft comes through, I think that one's seized. So I'll have to free that up at some point. It's missing the guards for the back and the front, but I already have those that I can throw on. And it's also going to need a little bit of welding on the corners. But the sides actually aren't too bad. A little bit banged up, but nothing that can't be fixed. And I also got this hood also for an L, slant hood, pretty good shape. And another two 48-inch plow blades, which I've got plenty of already, that's for sure. So they get fairly good cutting edges on them. Not bad, actually. This one's a little bit better than the other one. Pretty rusty, though. And I only have the mounts for one of the blades. I'll have to make one for the other. And the last of the attachments would be a pretty rugged looking square chute snowblower that was modified with a chute for the top of it at one point. So you can see it was kind of somewhat beefed up on the side, but it's been this lot of stuff came from underneath a barn that's probably been sitting there for the past 15-20 years, so a lot of moisture, and it does spin over somewhat. I think it's got a little bit stiff because it was spinning a bit better yesterday, but anyhow. And for the tractors, this one is a 1951 Model L. See the numbers right there. If anybody has anything close, that's 58048 Model L. This one, so I've got the wooden handles for the shift rods, shift levers, and it's missing the wooden handles for the handlebars here. It also has the muffler that points down towards the ground versus the canister type one that comes down and goes out. I think, if I'm not mistaken, they switched it right around that year somewhere. But anyways, it's got a nice hood on it. It's in nice shape, and it also has the Bendix magneto on it, which is pretty neat. And the wire's still on it too, which is a plus because one of the ones I had ended up snapping off. It's got the canister oil filter and the carburetor on it. 5-blade fan. So it's in pretty rugged shape. You can kind of see. I think someone started to take this one apart. It's missing the bolt and the fuel lines off of it. And it's also missing the left-hand wheel and tire, which I have the wheels over there. So it's going to be probably a parts tractor at this point. It does roll over with no compression, so it probably has a stuck valve. And the front of it, you can see, is full of junk too. So that's all going to have to be dug out of there at some point. And I also dumped a bunch of water out of the transmission yesterday when it was still warm enough out for it to melt. I think I got it all out, so hopefully nothing will freeze up in there. But it's got a good pair of hubs, and it's got one fairly decent tire. And the rims look to be in okay shape, at least. Got the hubcaps on it still. Shift rods are still okay. And it's got the starter pulley on the back, which is nice because I don't have any extras of those, along with the aluminum elbow on the carburetor. So that'll probably end up getting parted out at some point. Kind of too far gone to save it, and I'd have to put too much into it. And the other one I got, which is definitely not going to get parted out, is a 1952 Model L, and that serial number is 70914, if anybody has anything close. But this one is an ex-Navy tractor. You can see it right there, U.S.N Property. And the guy I bought these from said that long ago he had bought this tractor from a Navy surplus sale and used it with that left-hand mower deck over there for some time. So it's got the number, the equipment number, whatever, written on the hood here. Unfortunately, it's kind of rusted off up at the top. I think that was an N at one point. I like to know what these two numbers are. That might have been a A or a 4 or something. You can kind of see the thing there. Hard to say. Not sure what the last one is there. I'd like to know it though at some point. So it's got the small air cleaner on it. It's missing the magneto, and the coupler that was on it, it was like one of the ones from a Wyco, so I think it had a Wyco magneto on it. It actually has the other bolt holes, so you can put a Fairbanks Morse on it. Like I said, small air cleaner, canister type oil filter. Unfortunately, the plug was removed from it some time ago and left like that, but surprisingly enough, it still rolls over. No compression, but rolls over, which is a plus, so at least it's not seized up or anything. Tire on this side's pretty much shot, and the wheel looks okay shape. Not the greatest. The hood is definitely going to have to be replaced. You can see it's all bent up, and it's really kind of bent out of shape, and someone added this little bit of fin on the top of it also. And they also modified the side of it too, where it pivots, so it might have snapped off or something like that. So it's had a pretty kind of a tough life. And it's got the carburetor, cast iron rear facing one. It's got the aluminum elbow on the back of it with a little door, which is still on there, which is nice. And it actually has a Pierce governor on it, which, oh yeah, and it's also missing the left wheel. Both of these are missing their left wheels, which is kind of odd, but, or left tires, whatever. And it's got the Pierce governor, which unfortunately, the little elbow I think that came up the top here was snapped off at some point, which I can always fill that and probably put another elbow on it because I have a couple of extras. And it also has a newer style rope start pulley. Gas tank, I'm not too sure of the condition of it. I also had someone put this bar in between the handlebars there for some reason, try to stiffen it up or something of that sort. And for a 52, it also has these plastic handle grips on it, which was kind of weird, and my thought was that probably at some point the wooden ones might have worn off or came off, and then someone just replaced them with the plastic ones. And the throttle and choke are also not original. You can see the original hole in the handlebar right there. So this is the ex-Navy tractor, which I hope to restore at some point. I think for now it's going to get its own pallet somewhere up here out of the way, so it's not in the way and I can move around. But anyways, there you have it. Just a couple more Graveleys that I picked up.